Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. Thank you everyone for coming the night of Lag BaOmer. I know it's bonfires going on all over, and I guess for us, Hamidot is what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai would have wanted us to work on more than anything. Ezrat Hashem. This should bring the light into the world. So as we said last time, Ezrat Hashem, this segment of the Sefer, I think, by the way, this is the 13th shiur. We still have to check to make sure. I think it's the 13th shiur. As we promised, this part of the Olam HaKavod of Sefer Olam Hamidot by Rav Kestenbaum is talking about the relationship between parents and the children. It might be awkward, but as we know, everyone, as we mentioned up to now, that everyone has an obligation to give kavod to everyone, whether they're close to you or far from you, right? It is a mitzvah to give them kavod, right? All of Bnei Israel. And let's say a stranger comes to town, for sure it's a great mitzvah to go to the person with a smiling look, and this is how you give him kavod, because imagine a stranger comes to town and nobody pays attention to him. He feels worthless. He feels that he's not noticed. So when you do go over and you say hi, Baruch haba, or whatever you do, so it shows that his existence is acknowledged, right? And other people are noticing him, and that will give him kavod, and that will give him a boost. And that would be a great chesed. So definitely, though, the connection you have with the person will cause how much more responsibility we have towards giving that person kavod. So the farther a person is, okay, the obligation is less, although the obligation is there. But if he is your friend, he's close to you, then he is definitely more dependent on the kavod that you're going to give him. That's for sure. And now there are definitely three circles that are closer to our inner circle. That is the circle of the relationship between parents and children, the relationship between the Rebbe and his Talmidim, and also the relationship between husband and wife. We'll definitely, B'ezrat Hashem, tonight talk about the relationship between parents and children, and later on about the Rav and the Talmid, but I don't think it would be appropriate to discuss the kavod between the husband and wife, because then all the wives are going to become judges for their husbands, and that's scary. Shalom Bayit issues. So we'll skip that part. But for now, we'll concentrate on the relationship between a husband and the wife, and between the parents and the children.
You got to say now.
No, it slipped.
But wouldn't he talk about to men? Wouldn't he be talking to men?
Yeah, well, I need to be talking to the men and not to the wives.
So we can bring them.
Okay, that would be nice. Without the wives, right? Just the men. Could you imagine, you're going to be judging, oh, he's not doing this, he's not doing this, he's not doing this. Forget it, this is bad. Now, everyone knows that there is a mitzvah of kibud avayim, right? That the children need to give kavod to their parents, right? There is no question. This is one of the aseret hadiberot, kaved et avicha ve'et imecha, and but not everyone is aware that the parents also have to give kavod to their children, right? Chas v'shalom, that is in the same level, right? For sure, parents are. It's a different kavod that we're talking about. The children are not in that level that all the halachot of kibud avayim would apply to the children. That the parents, you have to do this and this and this. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that you definitely need to give importance to the children, right? And it makes sense. It's just common sense. Just like parents have to take care of the children in their physical needs, right? To make sure they're healthy, to make sure they're eating okay, to make sure they have clothing to wear and everything. You also have to make sure that they're healthy in their mind. To give them encouragement, to give them that boost, to give them that kavod that they need. If you remember, The pasuk that we mentioned originally when we were talking about giving kavod, it was ulven shinayim mechalav. It was like, making the teeth white is better than the chalav, and that pasuk is talking about making the person happy, giving them kavod, that he smiles and he shows his teeth. That's more important than the one that nurses them, that gives them milk. So this is exactly what it is. The parents are that which nurtures physically. They themselves are the ones that should also be leven shinayim, to make sure that their teeth are white. That means that they're gaining that respect. Naturally, every person looks up to their parents, right? There is no one as important to the young child, as the parents. So the child assesses his or her importance based on their acknowledgement. The child awaits the acknowledgement of the parents to see if they're important or not, right? So it comes out that the children are like something that the parents will have full ability to form, to deal with, and it's very, very scary. This obligation and responsibility that is on the parents, right? For sure, he says that God forbid, chas v'shalom, a lot of these children that go off the derech, right? This happened because this was missing. This was missing in their home from the parents. The parents didn't acknowledge them, didn't give them that which they needed, right? Giving kavod, giving importance to the children of the parents, this is the foundation of chinuch. This is something that we need to be very, very careful with, right? This is the whole world here, and we're going to see Be'ezrat Hashem, a little more details in this. Brings on something that we really emphasized on when we were learning the Binyan Uzriya B'chinuch from Rav Wolbe, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, that parents need to pour love to the children. You got to show them that attention, that love, because a person gets that strength from knowing that someone else loves them, someone else gives them respect. More so when we're talking about children and parents, right? Because this is not just, oh, what a nice thing. This is something that's needed. It's needed urgently from the children, right? For the children from the parents. So the question is asked, what do you think? What are you telling me? You're preaching to the wrong crowd. Of course, every parent loves their children. Every parent would do anything for their children. They'll give up their lives for their children, right? It's true. It's very true. But many times this love is inside. It doesn't show on the outside, right? And the child doesn't feel it, doesn't feel the level of love. And he needs to see it. So we need to show it by speech. We need to show it by action constantly, right? It's an ongoing process. And this is more valuable to them than any toys or any games you get for them, right? And this starts from the day they're born, right? Because they also feel that love. They feel that love, they feel that attention, they know it. He says, look how far-reaching this is. Be'ezrat Hashem, this is a rare mitzvah pidyon haben, right? If the first child happens to be a boy, and it's a normal birth, and you're not kohanim, you're not levim, and it happens you have to do pidyon haben, right? You have to buy that firstborn from a kohen. So there is a set questionnaire, Q&A from the kohen that is written already. Chazal wrote this. You know what they ask? My ba'it tefei. What do you want more? Liten li bincha bechorecha, to give me your firstborn, shehu peter rechem leimo, which is the firstborn to the mother, or ba'it liftoto ba'at chamesh selaim, or you want to redeem him with the 5 selaim, like you have to do from the Torah. What kind of question is that? What kind of question are you asking the parents? Of course. Is there such a possibility that the parent is going to say, oh, you know what? Keep him. I want my money. This is never going to happen. So what is going on? What kind of question is that? There's a musar. Chachamim are teaching us a very important foundation in the chinuch of the children. right? The person, of course, is gonna say, "What are you talking about? I want my children. I want them to be successful. I want them to grow up to be good people, Torah, mitzvot." But what happens? Most of his time he's busy in parnasa, in different things. He's busy in his own things. He has to ask himself, "Wait a minute, what is more important? Is it that? Is it my children or dot dot dot?" Right? And then this is something that the Kohen is asking the parents. And then later the child is going to ask the parents. Right? So we need to set up times, right? To spend time with our children. It's a chok velo yavor. It has to be a set thing, right? It's not really how long, it's not really the quantity, it is the quality. That means you give total dedication to the child, right? The main thing here is that you're showing them that you love them and you want to be with them. It's just that at other times, you're forced because of different things that you must do, right? Even if a person is learning Torah day and night, he's doing mitzvot, he needs to be careful that his children are not feeling neglected. For example, let's say the father, Baruch Hashem, he gets up early in the morning and he is learning Torah. The child wakes up from his sleep, right? Walks from his bed and comes to his father. So, wow, what a great scene. What do? Right? Don't pay attention to him. You're such a great, diligent person learning Torah. Or do you stop? He says, it's not correct that you shouldn't pay attention to him because you're such a great, matmid, diligent. Right away, you gotta pick up your head from the Gemara and say, "Hi, I'm happy to see you." Right? So what does that show? That shows that you're showing your love. You're showing that you really love him so much. Right? And that's what it is. That's where it stands. Many people don't know this, right? But the children need to feel that love, especially in this generation that we're in. They need to feel that love of the parents, and they have to feel that they are worth millions of dollars, and they are.
Cell phone versus Gemara.
Thank you. Or, yeah, to each his own, right? So really, like we mentioned in the previous chapter, in the previous two shiurim that we said, there's a person that is chashuv because we said he's tselem elokim, right? He has to feel, he has to know. Kol Olam Kollel, all the world was created for me. If someone now, okay, based on this, they were saying love, love, love. So then, what about discipline? What about teaching him to go in the right path? How are you going to show them, by showing him love all the time, right? He says the truth is that it's a mistake to think that way, because the mitzvah of chinuch, as we mentioned before in Sefer Binyan Usiyah, it's about tochacha, it's about rebuke, it's about bringing a person to the right path. That's also from love, right? That you love the person, you want to help him, you want him to fix whatever he's lacking, you want him to fulfill his purpose in the world. That's the biggest chesed that you could do. Like it says in Pirkei Avot, right? One of the Chachamim said, chaver tov. The best thing that a person could have is a good friend. Says Rabbeinu Ovadia Bar Tenura in the Perush of the Mishnayot, in the second parak of Pirkei Avot, he says, what is a chaver tov? What is a good friend? That's a friend that will rebuke him when he sees he's doing something that's not proper. That's a good friend. He sees you doing something wrong, he tells you. So that's why, when a person needs to rebuke his child, right, he can't do it through hatred, through anger, because then that punishment that you're giving him is not to help the child, it's only for your own benefit. You just want to get the anger out of your own heart. You're just trying to help yourself, not to help the child. And this is going to be discussed more when we get to the world of anger, right? But there's a pasuk in Sefer Mishle, right? Perek Yud Gimel, that says Chosech Shivto Soneh Beno, the one who withholds his shevet, the stick, right? He hates his child. He says, what? Look at the continuation of the pasuk. It says ve'ohavo, and the one who loves him, what does he do? Shoharo musar, gives him shicharo musar, gives him musar. Gives him musar. That means you teach him, You teach him what's proper, right? That every time that a person wants to give tochacha, wants to give rebuke, he wants to show the person that he's doing something wrong, it has to be through love, because the pasuk says ohavo, the one that loves him, right? And we discussed this pasuk already a few times in the sefer of building and planting. So he says a person, for sure, when he wants to punish him, has to say, listen, I love you, right? And I have a very hard time to punish you, but I have to, because you're doing something wrong, right? But at the end of the day, right, when you explain it like that, the child won't have anything against you, because just like a child won't have anything against the parents when they're taking him to the doctor. He's going to be angry at them. Oh, why did you take him to the doctor? Same thing is happening. This is what the feeling should be that we are giving them. So everything that we mentioned before regarding giving kavod to everybody else, 100% applies here, and we're going to see different categories. So some people think that, listen, I don't have to give kavod to my children, because look throughout the Torah, the only thing that you find is that the children should be giving kavod to the parents. So you don't find that you have to give kavod to your children, right? That's one reason that people might think that they don't have to. Or because they think that, listen, these kids are mine, I made them, right? I made him, it's mine, he belongs to me, so I can do whatever I want. Or they don't even need kavod, they're kids, what do they know? He says it's a mistake. It's a mistake. First of all, for our own midot, right? That we need to give kavod to everyone. And for sure, as we mentioned before, we need to give kavod to our own children, because they are the most dependent on that kavod. If everybody else is dependent on the kavod, if they all need it, for sure our own children, because that's the only source that we give. For sure the parents have to know, have to show that. And chas v'shalom, it's not to say, don't ever tell them that they're doing something wrong. We have to. And chas v'shalom, if we don't, it's a terrible disservice, if they're doing something wrong. But you need to tell it to them with kavod, calmly, not like a master is talking to his servants, right? And by doing that, also you're teaching them how they should be behaving with other people. If you start screaming at them, if you start talking down on them, if you start behaving like I owe you, then this is how it's going to behave towards other people. So what are we transmitting to them? Another important thing is that we have to pay attention to their feelings. Can't be cruel, right? When they're crying, right, just like anybody else cries, you have to feel bad for them. We mentioned this before in the name of Rabbi Salanter. He said if you take away, before we learned, if the kid is playing in the bathtub and you take away the piece of wood that he's playing with, it's like an adult that you're sinking his ship. Same idea. Whatever you take away from the child, he's in his world. This is everything. And when you take it away from him, it's like an adult. That you're taking the whole world away from the from the adult. So the same thing by the child. We have to know, just like adults, they have something that is very important to them, right? Children also, they have things that are very, very important to them. And it would be cruel to think, what is it crying for? It's nothing, it's not important, right? True, not all the time we have to give them whatever they want, but how are you going to do it? What's the attitude when we're doing that? We have to pay attention. We have to recognize that they're sad, and we have to deal with it. But at the same time, we could be firm and say, no, this is not something that you need. This is not something that that is necessary right now. But at the same time, it has to be done with kavod. Right? So we're going to go back to what we mentioned about giving kavod to everyone. We're going to pick some of the things there. So number one was to recognize good attributes, good things that are inherently in them. And we have to praise them, right? So first of all, we need to recognize what they're good at, right? We have an obligation to let them know, the special things that they have. Because if you don't do it, they're children. It's very hard for them to come up with that, to see what they're special at, right? And it's a chaval, parents that don't give encouragement to the children, something that this thing that they really need. They need to know who they are. They need to know what they're good at. They need to know, something about themselves. And, it's a chaval. Why should someone else come up with that, if not the parents? And we have to understand, every person has something that they're good at. And they're all different. Someone is very smart, someone is great at chesed, someone is great at being delicate, someone is great at physical strength, and so much more. And as we mentioned before, every person has in this world his mission to accomplish. And there is no competition between one person to the next. And the parents need to instill this idea in the children, so that everyone should feel special, should feel important from their own end. And to awaken that desire that they should be able to fulfill that potential that's within them. If chas v'shalom the parents don't understand this, and they just want a universal, I want all my kids to be this, create a mold and to stick everyone in that mold. So we mentioned before what the damages are in such a thing. And it's dangerous. So he says, every Friday night, every parent gives a beracha to the children. Yesimcha Elohim, Ephraim v'chi Menashe. That comes from the pasuk. Yaakov Avinu told Yosef when he was giving a beracha to his children, he says, B'cha yevarach Yisrael, right? That lemor Yesimcha Elohim, Ephraim v'chi Menashe. It comes from that pasuk, and we all say it. So what's the idea? Mefarshim explained that just like Ephraim and Menashe, they were not jealous. There was no jealousy between the two of them, right? So too, we are giving them a beracha that they should not have jealousy between the siblings, between anyone. And beautiful. But we could add to it something even more, right? Why wasn't Menashe jealous at Ephraim? The fact that Yaakov Avinu put his right hand on Ephraim's head and his left hand on Menashe's head, right? Because Menashe understood that every person has his special mission in the world. And Ephraim's mission was that from him comes Yehoshua, which is going to be the leader right after Moshe Rabbeinu, and he needs that special right hand of Yaakov to be on his head. And me, Menashe, I have another mission. That's how it is. And that's in truth why Yaakov didn't switch their places. Instead, he left them exactly where they were. Menashe, you have your place. Ephraim, you have your place. All that's needed here for me to stretch out my right hand over Ephraim's head and my left hand over Menashe's head. That's all I need to do, right? Because everyone is important where they are. Everyone has a mission where they are. That's the barakah that the parents are giving the children, that each one should understand their special mission and to grow in that with whatever potential they have and to be able to pass all the tests that are going to come up in their lives and to be able to fulfill this. And this would be true chinuch. If we succeed at that, that's amazing. So number one is to recognize each one's potential, each one's abilities, and to praise them, to show it and to praise it. The second one is when they do something good, like we mentioned before by everybody else. When someone does, one of the children does something good, you need to bring it up. You need to give it positive reinforcement and encouragement, right? Always. Because if parents only praise them, right, for something, not only, if the parents praise the children for something good that they do, they're going to feel good about it and they're going to want to do it again. Right? And this will guide them, this will encourage them to want to do more and more. And that's obvious. But unfortunately, a lot of people are not careful with that. Right? And of course, when they do something that's not proper, you need to tell them. But again, calmly. Right? Olam doche. The left hand should always be the one pushing away, but the right hand is the one that brings close. That means very gently you rebuke, but the more emphasis is on positive reinforcement. Right? And it's a khurban, it's a destruction. When parents do the opposite, right? They push with the right hand and they bring close with the left hand. the Gemara says, "Le'olam teheh semol doche v'yamim mekarevet." Right? Gemara Masechet Sotah, Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin. Right? With your left, you push off. With your right, you bring close. And okay, he says, however, right? True that we have to encourage the children, right? That whatever good and positive attributes they have, but the children have to realize and understand that the love you have for them is not dependent in their level of success, right? That's very important, because then when they don't succeed, right, they're gonna feel that they don't have, you're not gonna respect them, and that's dangerous, right? We should always show them love and respect, right? And a person has to look at his children with Ein Tov, right? And to try to derive nachat from them, right? Not to show that they're disappointed, right? To show that they're proud of the children, right? And this, when you do this, the children are going to feel like that. They're going to feel proud. They're going to feel good, right? Like it says in the Gemara Masechet Shabbat, "Le'olam al yeshaneh adam ve'eno ben abanim." The person should not differentiate between one child and the other child. It's not like, that means, it doesn't mean that when each child is different, you should behave with them universally. You have to pick out. Each one has their own special thing, but to point out one guy, one of them, and say, "Oh, be like him," that a person should not do. The Gemara over there says, because Yaakov gave Yosef a gift which was worth more, that's why they were jealous at him, and this is what caused our forefathers to go down to Mitzrayim, to Egypt. He says, look, the jealousy wasn't because, Yaakov spent more money for Yosef. No. It was that special attention and kavod and love that Yaakov showed him. That's what spurred the jealousy. That's what caused it. Right? So for sure, the parents, they have an obligation to enjoy each one of the children. Whatever special each one has, enjoy it. And show your enjoyment. Show your nachat from it. Right? And then, right, for sure, you're Mekayem, you're doing that mitzvah that Chazal are giving us, and for sure, and the children definitely feel what's going on in the parents' heart, in the what they're thinking, really. Very, very important to point out their efforts, right? Very important. Adam la'amal yulad, right? It's a pasuk in Sefer Iyov, right? Adam la'amal yulad, a person is born to put in their effort, right? And at the end of the day, after 120 years, this is how we're going to be judged. How much effort did you put in? Not what you accomplished. How much effort did you put in? When our children recognize, right, that this is what's the most important in the parents' eyes, right, then they won't feel that the parents are getting more nachat, right, when they come home, when they get 100, right? Let's say one of the siblings got 100. The other one got a 60. The one that got 100 is smart. Very smart. So he didn't accomplish much. If the one that got a 60 put in their effort, good. He accomplished even more than the one that got 100. That's what you need to show. For you, it's important, the amount of effort. I don't care what you got. Right? That's not the most important thing. For me, the important thing is that I know that you put in the effort. Right? That's all that counts. That's the biggest sachar for the child, right? When you show your appreciation for the effort, that's the most important thing. And we have to praise the children when they're talking. Show them, those kohot, those hidden the strengths that they have, right? Even if they're using their efforts, it's something that's not in Torah, that's not academic. It's like, I was playing ball and it was such a great game. You have to go, wow, that's amazing, and so on and so forth. He says there was this girl that she wasn't doing very good. She was a very, very young girl in the lower grades, and she wasn't really doing good in school. And when at the end of the year, when the report card was mailed, so she asked the parents, how was it? And really, the report card, everything was a fail. So the parents, said, you know what it says here? It says that you're a great girl, and your teacher loves you very much, and you really, really tried very hard this year, and we're very proud of you. Very good. And the girl thinking, wow, this is great, And next year, she started putting in more effort, and more effort, and she did really well. Okay, so she didn't get great grades. So what? She put in the effort, and that encouragement. I'm sure you guys saw there was something going on around Thomas Alva Edison regarding the letter. Yeah, you saw that one. Like after years, his mother passed away. He was rummaging through her stuff, and he found this letter that the school had sent. Keep your kid at home. We're not taking him back. And that's what she did. She kept him at home, and she told him, "Listen, Thomas, you are way too smart for your school, and they said they don't have anything else to teach you. So I guess we're gonna have to do ourselves, whatever we can." She gave him that boost of confidence. You're doing too good. You're great. And yeah. So he said, what comes out from all of this is that we need to give them chizuk always, to give them that encouragement with love, with kavod. Right? The kavod is what gives them life, to praise them and to look for the good things in them, right? And to draw nachat from them, right? If we if we believe in them, that they could grow and they could be successful, they'll believe in themselves. And in Chas v'Shalom, the opposite is the opposite. He says, now, this is the key. Someone who is missing his own kavod, right? He cannot find. You remember 3 times ago, or the section about the person needs to give kavod for themselves. Someone who's missing that, it's going to be very, very hard for them to be able to instill importance and kavod in their own children. Because when they don't have those tools to build themselves, how could they give it over to others? Not only that, the children are going to behave from their parents, learn their behavior from the parents, and they're going to think, if my own parents, they are not important in their own eyes, how could I be important in my own eye? Right? And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be able to build ourselves and our children, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we should all succeed in that. B'zchut Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.